Aloha. I am mahalo, which means thank you in Hawaiian. My friend Moana was amazing in the movie Disney. Well, I know her, but she did the movie too. And what I really thought was cool was she was self-reliant. That means that she was the only one that could help in a situation, and she knew what she had to do, so she just did it. She got on a catamaran, she traveled across the ocean with her paddle, and she paddled and she paddled and she paddled, and the ocean helped her a little bit, but she didn't know that. She knew she had to save her people and save her island. She was self-reliant because she relied on herself. She did it herself. She knew she had to do it, so she did it. That little chicken guy was kind of bothering her, but she didn't let that get in her way. She just knew what she had to do, and she did it herself. She was self-reliant. So I'm going to ask you a question about being self-reliant, because you seem to me to be somebody who tries it yourself, because you have a lot of good qualities and strengths and talents. So tell me about, how did you learn to be self-reliant, trying it yourself before asking for help?
Well, one time I was building a fort with my brother, and then he destroyed half of it. Then I was going to tell my mom, but then I thought for a second, I can just tape it back up and just put it back up again.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Because you knew you could do it, and you, instead of taking the time to tell your mom and waiting to see what she said and dealing with your brother, you just fixed it yourself, right?
Yeah, and I talked to my brother about it, and then he said okay, and then we brought our iPads in it, and then we watched for a couple while, and then it was dinner time.
That's perfect. So you worked out the situation yourself, right? Do you ever have situations in school where you're working really hard on something, and instead of raising your hand for help, you try it a little more before you raise your hand?
Yeah, and my teachers are happy about it, and then we have this teachers versus students thing in our class. We get to have extra recess if the students win. And if the teachers win, we just have to do a little bit more homework.
Okay, so what do you do to win? How can you win? How do the teachers win or the students win? What do you have to do to win?
You have to basically, when they ring the chime, you have to put your hands on your shoulders and drop everything. And another way, if you be respectful and good, yeah.
So if you follow the rules of the classroom and you cooperate, right. So you're not waiting for someone else to tell you to put your hands on your shoulders when the chime rings. You just know what to do.
Yes, that's pretty much,
Right.
what we do. And Elmwood School is one of the best schools, and
Aww.
I kind of like it, so.
Aww. That's really sweet. Thank you so much, Chase. We love that you gave us a good example of how to be self-reliant. I'm here with Amelia at the Schools Out program for the YMCA. We're going to talk about being self-reliant. So self-reliant is when you have something to do and you rely on yourself. You try it yourself first. So Amelia, can you tell me of a time when there was something you had to do and before you asked for help, you tried to do it yourself?
Once I was playing with my Legos at home, and I was gonna ask my little brother to help me, but then I tried to do it, and then I could do it myself.
Awesome. So are you like that a lot? You try to do it yourself before you ask for help?
Yeah.
Yeah. And why is that a good thing?
'Cause I can try, and then I know that I can do it next time I try to do it.
Exactly. So the more you try to do something that yourself, the more you know you can, which means you're going to try it yourself next time too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and how did you learn how to be that way? Is it because you're the big sister or are you just born that way?
Just born that way.
That's awesome. Do your parents fix things around the house or do they call someone for help usually?
They ask me to help, and I sometimes help them. And they usually, if they can't fix it, they call someone to help.
But they try to do it themselves first, right? That was my guess. Because if you came out this way, I'm guessing your parents are this way too, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for giving us a great example of someone who is self-reliant. Perfect. Thank you. Hi, I'm here with Isabella and Julia from the Schools Out program for the YMCA, and we're here to talk about being self-reliant. Self-reliant means that if you have something you need to do, you try to do it yourself instead of say, oh, I can't, let me see. Okay, so Julia, tell me about a time when you had to do something yourself and you were having trouble with it, but you did it yourself before you asked for help.
Well, I was trying to turn on the TV, and it was hard because there was so much buttons. I didn't know which channel to press, but then I tried different kinds of ways, and it started to make sense. And then I learned how to turn it on.
I love that story. So instead of saying, Mommy, Daddy, help me, you try to figure it out yourself first, right?
Yeah.
That's being self-reliant. Good. All right, Isabella, can you think of a time when you did that? Oh, aren't you nice? Thank you, Julia.
When the same as Julia, when I was trying to turn on the TV, it was there's so many buttons I didn't know what one to do, so I just talked into the remote, so it was, and I pressed a button, so that made it easier, and I didn't say Mom or Dad to come over and do it.
Wow, same thing. Okay, so have you guys ever gone, are you Girl Scouts at all or do anything?
I'm a Girl Scout.
Okay, so have you ever gone camping? Have you ever been in a tent? Have you ever had to learn something new that was hard for you and you had to figure it out? What was that?
Well, when it's time to earn different badges, it's hard to do different stuff.
I'm here at the Elmwood Schools Out program, and we're going to talk about being self-reliant. Why is it a good idea to try to do something yourself first before asking for help? We're going to start with Jillian. Jillian, what do you think? You had an example of something.
When I was in the lunchroom at the Elmwood School, I couldn't open something, so I tried it by myself, and then I asked some of my friends, and then I asked Miss Wiggin.
Right. So you tried first instead of start a little, oh, I can't, help me. Right. So how hard did you have to try to open that thing? That was pretty closed.
Yeah, it was really hard to open, and it was won't budge.
Right. So why is it a good idea to try something yourself first?
So what if you actually can get it, but you don't try?
Perfect.
Because you don't want to try.
Right. So try yourself because you might be able to do it yourself, right? Good. Okay. So Sophia, do you have an example or why is it a good thing?
One time in the lunchroom, all my friends had a water bottle and they couldn't open it, and so did I. So we all tried together, and then we passed it around to try to see, and eventually we asked the teacher to help.
Okay. So similar to Jillian's. And why is it a good idea to try it yourself first?
Because who knows, you may get it open and you may not. So if you ask like crazy, and they might be able to get it open when you could easily get it open.
Right. So try it yourself because you might be able to do it. Okay. I'm going to check with Zach over here.
Last night our shower broke, so my dad tried to fix it himself, but it wouldn't work. So in the end, he had to call a plumber.
Right. But if he could have done it himself, then he's saving time and money, and it was at nighttime, so it's easier if you could get it done. Right. So why is that a good thing?
Because then you can save time and money, like you said.
Hey, I couldn't have said that better myself, Zach. Okay, so what advice do you have for kids as to why they should be self-reliant?
You should be self-reliant because when you're older, you might need something and you don't try, and it's kind of weird asking someone if you're older to do this for me. But then they get if you're opening something and you just don't want to open it, and you ask someone and they can open it, it's probably you can too, because you're probably not trying.
Right. So it's kind of practice for when you're on your own in an apartment and you're trying to open something. It's better to know you can actually do it yourself, right? Okay. Did you want to add anything?
If you try it when you're little, you will be able to do it when you're older, so you know it for real.
That's good advice. What do you think, Zach?
It's like training for the hardships of being an adult.
Whoa. Training for the hardships of being an adult. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. We're here with Cooper, who's going to tell us why being self-reliant is a good thing and give us some examples of what he has done in his life.
I've had a dog loose in my backyard, and my other dog hates dogs, so I needed to go catch it. But I almost asked for help, but I didn't, so I did it myself.
Awesome. So it was almost a question of you didn't have time to ask for help, right? Because you knew that unless you got your dog, the other dog would attack or be mad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had to do that and you knew you could. So you did, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And have you always been someone who tries to do it yourself instead of saying, "Wah, I need help"?
Most of the time I do it myself, but sometimes if it's really hard, I ask for someone to help.
Well, that's smart. If you try and you know you can't, you know it's silly to just keep trying. Okay, good. So why is it good to try to do it yourself before asking for help right away?
Because if you ask for help and if they can do it and they're younger than you, you might think that you could have done it, and it's just a waste of your time.
Right. And it might be embarrassing if you ask someone and they did it, but you know you could have, then it's embarrassing that they did it, right?
Yeah.
Right. So what advice do you have for kids about why should they try to do it themselves first?
Because if they ask someone for help, like their dad, and he does it, they might have been able to do it, and that might have just been the waste of their time.
Okay, same thing. Well, that's very good thinking, Cooper. Thank you so much for giving us your thoughts on being self-reliant. I'm here with Olivia, and Olivia is going to tell us about why being self-reliant is a good thing. So, Olivia, have you had a time in your life where there was something that you started to do and you could have asked for help, but you said, "No, I can do that. I'm going to try it first"?
It's when I tried. So when my mom was out at work, I always used to get strong, and my sister told me to not lift a dumbbell, and I lifted it, and she said no, but then I said I couldn't do it. So that's why I think that I'm strong.
Okay, so you definitely are strong if you were trying to lift dumbbells. How strong was that? How heavy was that dumbbell?
Like
5 pounds, 10 pounds?
5.
Okay. So you work on being strong. So if you had to lift something when there was no one around, could you try lifting that first?
Yes.
Right. So you didn't have to ask for help lifting that heavy thing because you know you can lift a dumbbell, right? Mm-hmm. Right. So what you're kind of doing is you're kind of practicing. When you're lifting weights, you're kind of practicing to make yourself strong so you can be self-reliant and do lots of things, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So what's an example of you had to lift something, not a dumbbell, or you had to help get a dog in the house, or you had to help lift a younger cousin, sibling, something, grocery bag, and you did it without asking for help. Do you have an example of that?
When I was at the grocery store with my mom and my sister, there was like eggs and there was ham and milk and all those other kind of food stuff, and I lifted it without asking.
Right. So when you're self-reliant, you can help people, right? You don't stand there and say, I don't think I can do that. I'm just going to let everyone else help, right? But you knew you could do it because you knew you were strong. Mm-hmm. Right. So what advice do you have for kids about how they could train themselves to be self-reliant if they aren't already, or why is it a good thing?
To train themselves, I think they should go to this place where my sister goes. It's CrossFit Firewall. And they can train really good because there's this coach Carrie. She's known me for a long time. And they have stuff where you can swing on, and they have a TV for a kid's room. And I think she times you for 20 or 10 minutes.
Okay, and is CrossFit Firewall in Hopkinton? Is that the one over on South Street?
It's near.
Because they have that's CrossFit Resilience, maybe. They have CrossFits all over the place. So where is CrossFit Firewall with Coach Carrie?
Carrie.
Carrie.
I think it's in Medway.
In Medway. Okay, and they have a kids program.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have a place where they can sit and play.
Awesome. So that's some good advice. To train yourself to be self-reliant, you can lift weights and make yourself strong. And then you can do lots of things. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Olivia. I appreciate your time. Hey, Ready Freddy.
What, Piggy Wiggy?
Do you know what the word self-reliant means?
No. Well, I know what self means. That means myself.
Yeah, well, self-reliant means you rely on yourself.
What does rely mean?
Rely means that you don't need to ask other people. You try to do it yourself first.
Oh, okay. So, can you explain that a little bit?
Sure. So, if I needed to get something and it was too high for me to reach, I would look around to see if I could find something safe to stand on, not something with wheels.
Oh, yeah, that would be bad because then the wheels would go and you would fall down.
Right. So, self-reliant means before you look around to ask someone else, you first see if you can do it yourself.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, so if I need to get something, I try to do it myself first.
Yeah, that's right. Unless there's someone right there and they want to help you. But even then, try to do it yourself first. That's being self-reliant.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Piggy Wiggy.
What? Aloha again. It's Mahalo here. I'm just thinking some more about Moana and how amazing she was at being self-reliant. And I'm thinking that that's a really good character trait to have. Sometimes when I need help, I first think about who I can ask for help instead of thinking about what I can do myself. There are a lot of things we can do ourselves. Obviously, you don't want to do something if it's not safe or it's against the law or it breaks a rule. But if there's something you can do, like if something is up on a high shelf and you can stand on a safe stool to reach it, you don't have to say, hey, could you come help me? You just do it yourself. Or if something is stuck and you can get a hanger and make it into a hook and you hook that thing and then it's not stuck anymore. Or if you can't untie a shoelace and you, instead of giving up and asking for help, you just keep trying, you can do it. If you're self-reliant, you rely on yourself first, and then you ask for help later. You should try it. So why should people have confidence in themselves to get things done or in their own beliefs to do the right thing? Why not ask for advice or help in those things in life that might seem hard for us at first? Our character, Mahalo, told us about Moana, her friend, who took a boat across an ocean by herself to try to save her island. Moana had confidence in herself to use the paddle to move the boat and followed the guidance of her grandmother and then nature to help her find the solution to her problem. She had confidence in herself to find a way to her goal, and she succeeded. That is self-reliance. Chase gave us an example of his being self-reliant when his brother wrecked the fort he was building, but instead of calling for his parents, Chase just got to work rebuilding. Then he worked things out with his brother. Chase also gave us an example of self-reliance in his classroom, where kids are expected to respond without reminders. And Chase, he does that. Way to go, Chase. Next, Amelia told us of trying to do things herself, because if you get it done, then you will know how to do it next time. Good thinking, Amelia. Julia told us of a time when she tried to turn on the TV and the remote had many buttons, so she was not sure which button to push, but she kept trying instead of asking for help and found the right button. She relied on herself to get it done without asking her parents or brother for help. Isabella told us a similar story, and then I think she said she talked into the remote after trying to work the many buttons, got it to work without asking her parents for help. Good idea to keep trying till you get it, girls. Jillian and Sophia both said that they tried to open a water bottle in the lunchroom and tried, then asked their friends to help them before asking a teacher for help. They relied on themselves to solve the problem, then asked people near them. So that was a good way to approach that challenge. Jillian said if you try, you might actually be able to do it, so it is always good to try it yourself first. She also said it is good to try things while you are young, because then you can do things when you are older. Sophia agreed. Zach gave us an example of his dad being self-reliant with a plumbing issue. His dad couldn't do it, so he ended up calling the plumber. Zach says that trying something yourself is a good idea because you might save time and money. He also said that trying to do things while you are young is like training for the hardships of being an adult. Wise words, Zach. Our puppets talked about how it is a good thing to try something yourself before asking for help. Of course, if you are in a dangerous situation or you need help or you might get hurt, ask for help right away. But if you are just trying to solve a problem or do something not dangerous, trying it yourself is always a good thing. Being self-reliant means you have confidence in yourself, and if you can't do it, you are practicing for the time when you can get it done, and that's good. Trying something builds character, and character matters. You can watch Character Matters right here on HCAM every week at 6:30 p.m. Thursdays, 5 p.m. Fridays, 9:30 p.m. Saturdays, and 2:30 p.m. on Mondays. HCAM is at Channel 30 Verizon Fios, Channel 8 Xfinity, and Channel 8 Comcast. You never know who will show up.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel like a fish with no water.
Learn how to prevent your child's next asthma attack, because even one attack is one too many.
Hi, I'm Jeff Corwin. Founded in 1877, American Humane is dedicated to the idea that all animals are entitled to humane treatment. Today, endangered species are experiencing a better quality of life because of the ethical, science-based standards established by American Humane. Teach your kids the importance of wildlife conservation by visiting humane-certified zoos and aquariums. To learn more, visit AmericanHumane.org.
A college security officer called to tell me there was a drinking party on campus. The officer said there had been excessive drinking and our son was in the hospital for alcohol poisoning. He said my husband and I should come as soon as we could. I knew my son would face distractions and temptations when he went away to school. He already had unfortunate experiences with alcohol, and he was a little too good at fitting in with the crowd. I had no idea things could get so much worse, so fast. A nurse suggested we attend Al-Anon family groups. Even though our son claimed his drinking was no big deal, he said he was not an alcoholic and that he could quit whenever he wanted. I didn't want to go to an Al-Anon meeting, but I'm sure glad I went. Is someone's drinking troubling you? You might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-AL-ANON or go to
Hi, my name is Margie Wiggin, and I want to invite you to join me for my new show, Character Matters, on HCAM. We're going to talk about why do people choose the behavior that they choose? Why do they choose to be good? We're going to hear from people in history. We're going to hear from local heroes who make great choices. And we're going to hear from some puppets who talk about things they've seen, and they're going to say, "What? Did you see that?" "Yes, I did." Please join us.